It started with trust. A team built on the idea that when the world needed saving, a group of heroes could rise above their differences, their pain, their pasts, and fight together. The Avengers weren't just Earth's mightiest heroes, they were a family, or so we thought. But what if that trust was misplaced? What if one of them was never who they said they were? Look closely, not at the fights, not at the flashy powers. Look at the silence between missions. The glances exchanged, the decisions made in shadows. There's something sinister buried in the MCU timeline, and no one noticed. The betrayal didn't start in Endgame. No, it was planted way back. Maybe in Sokovia, maybe in New York, maybe even before we met them on screen. One Avenger whose story we've celebrated, whose loyalty we've never questioned, may have orchestrated every major event, but why? Let's rewind. Remember the Battle of New York? Aliens invading through a portal, buildings crumbling, the city on its knees. The team comes together, but one Avenger is unusually calm. Too calm, calculated, watching almost as if they were testing something, not the threat. The team. Then comes Sokovia, Ultron, an AI born out of fear, ambition, and secrets. Tony created Ultron, yes, but someone else gave him the idea, or nudged him toward it. And when Ultron went rogue, that same Avenger barely looked surprised. They fought. But they didn't stop it in time. And that delay cost lives. Coincidence? Or design? Because what followed was chaos, civil war, a perfectly timed fracture. Captain versus Iron Man. Brothers turned enemies. But whose information sparked it? Who leaked the truth about Tony's parents? Who stood silent, watching the team fall apart? What if this betrayal isn't a fan theory? What if Marvel has been telling us all along, through hidden clues, through subtle expressions, through offhand lines you barely noticed? What if the biggest twist isn't Kang, but that we've been cheering for the villain the whole time? The signs are there, tiny, almost invisible. In Age of Ultron, someone knew Wanda would have a vision that turned the team against itself. Someone planted seeds of fear and mistrust. And later, that same someone conveniently recruits Wanda, gives her shelter, guides her. Why? Guilt? Or leverage? And what about Vision's death? One Avenger knew the Mind Stone's origin, its power, its role in the multiverse, yet they hesitated, sacrificed time, allowed Thanos to win a battle they could have avoided. Why? Because every sacrifice added weight to a future plan. Even during Endgame, something feels off. Time travel? Desperate? Yes. But what if the time heist was never about reversing Thanos, but about resetting the board? Because when you reset a board, you choose where the pieces land. And who benefits the most? Let's talk about power. Not brute strength, influence, manipulation. Someone who's always there but never questioned. Someone who survived every battle without ever leading the charge. Someone who gathers intelligence, learns secrets, and always knows more than they say. They've talked with Nick Fury, helped form the Avengers, vanished during battles only to return at convenient moments. They've been in space, on Earth, and everywhere in between. But here's the real question. When you wear too many faces, does the real one even exist anymore? This Avengers backstory is vague. Too vague. Documents lost, files redacted, origins blurred in mystery. And when they finally shared the truth, it came in pieces, riddled with holes. Was it trauma or a cover-up? Now, let's go deeper. Who do the villains never target first? Who never gets captured, never gets truly threatened? Who always walks away clean while others bleed? There's a scene, it's subtle. The team is arguing about who should take the final Infinity Stone. Tensions rise. This Avenger offers no solution, just watches, waits. Because every argument weakens unity, and unity is the enemy of control. Even in their personal life, cracks appear. A love interest vanishes. No explanation. Friends disappear. A mentor dies. And yet, this Avenger always survives, thrives, evolves. Why? Because in every chess game, the queen moves freely, but the player hides behind the board. So here's the theory. One Avenger, not a villain, not a hero, but a strategist, who orchestrated the Battle of New York to test the team, who allowed Ultron to rise to expose Tony's flaws, who let Civil War erupt to destroy Unity, who delayed action during Infinity War to let half the universe vanish, so that the world would beg for leadership. And after Endgame, they have no opposition. Tony's dead, Steve's gone, Thor's in space, Wanda's unhinged, Strange is distracted, Hulk is weaker, new heroes are scattered, untrained. And guess who's still standing? Still trusted, still silent. But here's where it gets chilling. In a recent Marvel release, there's a post-credit scene, barely a few seconds. But in it, this Avenger is seen holding a file. It's sealed, confidential, but the label reads Project Phoenix, not part of the original timeline, not approved by S.H.I.E.L.D., and definitely not known to anyone else. When questioned in interviews, the actor laughs, says it's nothing, just a tease. But insiders whisper otherwise. Project Phoenix isn't just a nod, it's the beginning of something, a rise, a rebirth, and possibly domination. Fans think King is the next big villain. But what if King is just a distraction? What if Marvel is setting up a deeper betrayal? One rooted in everything we've seen, everything we've trusted? And what if this Avengers in Yo has been the true puppet master all along? Let's talk about recent patterns. This character is suddenly appearing more in multiverse-related content. Crossovers, animated series, voice cameos, their face, everywhere. Why now? Because the narrative is shifting. From saviors to rulers. From team players to secret kings. And if you look even closer, comic book arcs reveal a similar twist. In a lesser-known issue, this very Avenger turns against their own kind. Quietly, effectively, not out of rage, but out of purpose. A belief that humanity needs order, not freedom, and they're willing to do whatever it takes. Here's the twist you weren't ready for. Everything you've seen, the wars, the alliances, the losses, it wasn't about defeating Thanos. It wasn't about protecting Earth. It was about eliminating threats. To them. To their plan. So, when the multiverse cracks open, when realities collide, and when fans scream about Kang, Doom, or Galactus, this Avenger will be sitting in the shadows, smiling, because the real enemy is the one you never suspected. The one you rooted for. The one whose story you followed for years. And by the time the truth comes out, it'll be too late. Marvel won't announce it. They won't hint at it directly. They'll bury it in Phase 6, behind flashy titles and crossover hype. But if you've been watching closely, if you've connected the dots, you already know. The greatest betrayal in MCU history is coming. And it's not from a villain. It's from an Avenger. So now ask yourself, who do you trust?